Hello everybody. Ahnaris here, bringing you continued coverage of the best of series between Minigun and Happy. Two players spawning cross positions here today on GSL Terminus. We have Terran versus Protoss, and this has been a very interesting series. I'm not going to lie. I'm very happy, especially after game number 2. Game number 2, I felt like had a lot of back and forth action where you saw that eventually Happy just kind of fell under the might of that slow encroachment upon his territory by the Protoss death spread. I guess we'll call it that. Kind of the opposite of the ball. Way spread out, protecting against EMPs. So that is what we may be seeing today. I don't know. I mean, these two players spawning cross positions on a pretty decently large map. I feel like it would lend itself well to that Banshee style of play that we've seen so far. Now, if Happy decides to go with it, I don't know if he is going to or not, really. We'll know in just a minute. But if he does, I feel like he's going to have the terrain that he can really take to his advantage. Most importantly, you see the main right here. Well, pretty much all the spawning positions have a ton of airspace behind them. So plenty of room for ducking in, getting some shots, ducking back out. Also good for drops. Maybe we'll get to see some Warp Prism play. It's not something we've seen too much of in this series yet. I think we're actually just starting to see that come into the bigger games. So that's the thing that has always been kind of interesting about the top tier games. You won't see too many kind of wonky builds, creativity, etc. Because basically, and this mainly pertains to the GSL. When you make it to like Code S, you pretty much just have to practice, these builds that aren't too crazy because you can't risk getting bumped out. I mean, it's basically, GSL, Code S, then Code A, and then bam, you're out. So you have to be very careful, very smart-like. And War Prisms, they've had a place. They certainly have. They've been in games. But I feel like with the buff, we're going to start seeing them maybe not quite considered as a fringe for some players as they would have previously. Now, obviously, this is not a GSL game. But I'm hoping that it's going to kind of bleed into all various levels of gameplay, just to have generally incorporate that. Because it's so powerful. The ability to warp in units during a fight at the front door. I mean, no other race can do that. You don't see Happy floating all of his barracks and factories, throwing down tech labs inside of the base, do you? No, you don't. But you can see Minigun do that. I'm not saying he will, but, I mean, he can, and that's the biggest thing. It's a really underused unit that I know I've been ranting about this for like a minute now, but I personally hope that we see more of it. I'm sure we will. So now let's actually take a look at the game here for just a minute. Minigun, going ahead and opening up pretty standard build. One gateway gas. Going to be likely having an expansion here at some point. SCV scouting around. Again, at best, hoping to delay if it comes out just for a few seconds by running around. Of course, we have that probe coming down. Ooh, did the SCV see it? Nice. Very nice. So he's going to come up here. He's going to spot that there's no gas. Oh, he didn't spot that. Oh, my. So Happy is actually going a very interesting build here. He is going ahead with Hellions. Now, to what extent do we think he's, like, in terms of success? How much is he going to realize here? Well, he's got the bunker for protection. Okay, so his main base is likely fine against any stalkers that decide maybe to come in, poke around. But as far as the actual main goes, keep in mind that pretty small ramp, and there is a sentry here at the top. So Force Field can hold that if Minigun sees it, which, I mean, I would say it's fair to say he would. But as far as what else is here on the base, we see that Minigun is currently 33 of 34. That's not a good position to be in. Would like to see a Stalker come out of here at some point in the near future to combat these. But Hellions, if you can get them in this base, Minigun is going to have a very difficult time fending them off. Now, keep in mind, there was a change. Blue Flame, which we do not have on these Hellions, does 5 damage instead of 10 to light units. But we are going to see that energy kind of get whittled down a little bit there. Not enough for another force field, but we do have that Stalker now, and obviously with the second sentry, it's going to be quick with it if he wants to get it. Yeah, there we go. So Happy denied once again. Minigun able to hold his own. Now let's actually look down here at Happy's base for just a minute. Once these Hellions, I assume, are they actually going to try to get in here? Oh my, they are. Look at that. He is just charging up the top of the ramp. Loses 2 Hellions on the initial burn up. And now the probes, you see they're pretty much just trying to come in and get a surround. And notice by doing this, they're actually denying the Hellions that good lineup that comes so frequently with probes that just run away. If he had ran those over here, tucked into this position, you would have seen those just get burned up big time. Probably not a lot of them dying, but still, a lot more of them would have lost their shields and may have made Happy feel compelled to follow up with another one. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It looks like he's transitioning into pretty standard play here. Let's actually spend a minute now that there's no attacks up here. And let's take a look at what's going on. So he's got that factory. Again, nice little funnel for the units that try to come up and attack the top of the ramp. You see he's investing into a lot of Marines. He's making good use of that reactor. And even doing it on the tech labs as well. Again, he's saving up his gas. That's the biggest thing right now. Look at it. You can just see he's got a Raven on the way. That's where all that gas just went to a minute ago. And now he's going to be able to saturate his mineral line even more, transition over into an expansion, and could we see the same play as in game number 2? I don't know. It's going to be very intense to see how that plays out. The ramp or the entry point is kind of wide. You know, you can certainly create a choke position by throwing down a couple structures, but against a Terran player, it's kind of difficult to make that really effective because, again, all of their units are ranged. So it only goes from short range to, like the Hellions with the Splash, the Marines, to worse for the Protoss with the Siege Tanks, which you don't actually see that often. I mean, Siege Tanks in PvT, I mean, they have a place, but you got to be really careful with them. Because, yeah, those Immortals, they all kinds of rip up Terran mechs. So we'll see what happens here today as the Marines start to head out. The Hellion shows that, or the Raven shows itself, gives the Protoss an idea of what's going on. We can actually just look at the army comparison right now, 950 to 1050. And as far as units lost so far, you see Terran has definitely lost, well, I mean, that's pretty much just 4 Hellions and an SCV. Or Marine, I didn't see. But, yeah, he's got 2 Colossi on the way, so that's good. He's also got that Robotics Bay. Now, let's see if he actually loses it this time. Again, happy with that drop earlier in game number 2. Phenomenal. Took out the Robotics Bay, the Robotics Facility, the Templar Archives, delayed the range upgrade. I mean, that was just a brutal hit. Unfortunately for Happy, he just was not able to capitalize on that, as the Protoss already had enough forces out and was able to warp in just enough to deal with it without leaving the defense of his expansions. Now, what's going to happen here? We're going to see one drop take place down here at the Natural. We're going to have another one down here at the 3rd, which obviously Minigun is taking as we speak. This Robotics Bay could be going down. Nope, we do have the Stalkers here, able to come in, deny that attack. Pretty quick release on the probes there as well. So you're going to see these Marines start to do a little bit of harassment, and pretty much what Happy is trying to do here is force his opponent to come over there so that way he can come in and drop with this dropship. He's looking to come in and try to deny that range, but we see it's just about complete. I don't think that's actually going to be feasible for him to come in and drop like this because, I mean, yes, the stim is all fine and dandy, but there's a friggin' Colossus right there, man. That thing is going to annihilate the Marines, and we saw that it did just that. So back over here, we have another attack, trying to cancel this expansion, or at least delay it. Oh, nope, able to save it there. Minigun with a quick save on that Nexus, able to come in once again, taking his 3rd. Now, let's look down here at Happy once again, 94 to 106. He has done a decent bit of damage. And of course, he still has that one dropship over here. Again, abusing the terrain. That's what he's really trying to do. He knows this map is very good for drop play, pulling his opponent back and forth through those ramps, kind of funnel position right there. Also, not so much right here, but just this constant tug of war can make it very difficult for Minigun to basically just get his bearings and hold down his mineral lines, because the delaying, you saw that even though he didn't lose a lot of probes, he lost a lot of mining time. And looking at the income right now, is he's 65 to 46. So I'm really curious to see how Happy is going to be looking to close this gap. So far, I feel like he has done a lot to keep Minigun on his toes, but not a lot in terms of just direct damage, things that can set Minigun back. You see 750 to 700, so he's done a little bit, and that's great. But what he needs to have happen here is he needs to have that constant harassment that he did in game number 1, or game number 2 rather, where he just kept Minigun on his toes for so long, and now we're going to see that Marine Force come in here. Yeah, Minigun, he's already got, look at that many Colossi just strolling on in. They're going to be able to drive this force away. Again, not that many losses right there, I think 100 total. So back over to the production tab, we see Templar Archives on the way. Plenty of Vikings for Happy, so I'm really curious to see. I think he's going to be going for the, oh man, yep, the 2 base all in here with enough SCVs to tank most of this damage. I feel like this is just such a powerful attack here. The timing of this comes in just before I feel that Minigun really has the ability to deal with this many units. Again, look at it. He does have some Zealots this time, so yes, that's great. He's also going to have Armor 1 by the time that's done, but he's investing into all of these, all of these things, the Templar Archives, the Psystorm, the Charge. He does not have those 3 additional gateways up to take advantage of this 3rd base, which is the purpose of this attack, to catch him just before he has the ability to really produce those big units, that big quantity of units. So we're seeing force fields go down. Not going to be enough as the Vikings come in and start annihilating the Colossi, dropping down 2. Final one there. But just look at the units lost right now. You can see, as far as the actual army goes, 1 Archon dropping down there. There's the GGG from Minigun, throwing in an extra one because he is Chad Mother Jones. So we are going to go ahead and close down this video series. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, maybe learned something from it along the way. Of course, if you feel so compelled, hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe. All that stuff that YouTubers do to show their support, it actually does help the video producers out a lot. So thank you again. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video.